Welcome to the Managing Drought in the Southern Plains webinar series. This is a short briefing describing the current conditions and outlooks in our region. It is brought to you by the Southern Climate Impacts Planning Program in association with NOAA, the National Integrated Drought Information System, and National Drought Mitigation Center. We also offer a full webinar which we hold on the second Thursday of each month. Please see our website, southernclimate.org, for more information. Here's what's going on this week around the region. Not much change across most of it, although there has been more improvement in western Arkansas with some recent rains. There's also a slight expansion of the D4 extreme or exceptional drought in Oklahoma and Kansas, and problems in New Mexico snowpack. But the good news is there is some relief on the way, it looks like, in the short term, and some warm weather in store. As we look at the drought monitor this week, it looks pretty much as it has for most of the winter so far. Extreme exceptional drought covered across this midsection of the country. Here in our region, the patterns again looks very familiar. Almost very few changes in Texas. A little bit of improvement in western Arkansas and slight expansion of drought along the Oklahoma and Kansas border a little bit further towards the east. Big problem we're having in Oklahoma is the winter wheat. The image on the left shows the winter wheat in 2012. The one on the right shows this year's 2013. And you can see a whole lot less green in that section, and that's a major crop in this part of the country. So farmers are having to deal with this and associated range and pasture issues with cattle and livestock feed. Further to the north, the drought monitor pretty much looks as it has, with that core of the drought centered across Nebraska and into Kansas and up into South Dakota. Not much change here in this pattern during this week. Over in New Mexico, the drought has crept back in, a big expansion in extreme and severe drought in most of the state, and that's reflected now in the snowpack totals. In the Pecos River Basin, snowpack totals are only 40% of average, and most of the state is on the order of 60 to 70% of average. So this is looking like some more long-term issues continuing along the river systems in New Mexico. In the short term, we see a lot of green on the map. That's the first time we've seen this in a while. Rainfall expected widespread in the next 5 days, including some in our region, maybe up to as much as an inch. But the other story is that warm weather, all those red lines, up to 15 degrees above normal across the southern plains. And that brings in some questions about potential evaporation starting to creep back in. In the following week, it looks like we see another shot of cold air heading towards the east coast, warm air in the west, and still pretty much the familiar dry pattern in the west and wet pattern in the east going into the early part of February. And beyond this, we're looking at continued warmth in the going into spring. Now remember, these are probabilities above normal, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be extremely warm in Texas, but it just means that it's a pretty clear signal that it will be warm. And as we get into spring, then we start being worried about evapotranspiration, the uptake of water by plants, as well as directed into the air. The drought outlook reflects this dry pattern continuing along our region and along the Gulf Coast. As always, we have many resources, many of our partners listed here. We invite you to take a look at the information they have. These briefings are posted on the SCIP website as well as YouTube, and we do have the monthly briefings, webinars that we do on the second Thursday of each month. Please go to our website for more information. We appreciate your interest and have a great week.